I had to say, and really happy to be here. So who don't know me, I'm Canato, senior Android developer at Moonpig today, and I moved here to London in 2019 and have been working on Depop before and Musmatch. The talk today is about my open source library that I hand over to Brew. Is a community project that a lot of people have been working on. And just to explain a little bit about it and my experience. So as I said, I'm on Moonpig. Moonpig is hiring, like most of the companies today. We are looking for like amazing people to be part of us. These two QR codes, one is for the attachment deck, if you want to see how it should work at Moonpig. And the second one is related to all the jobs that we have available, not only in Android, but everything else. I show this again in the end. So what is this open source library? This open source library is doing Android crop image. So you bring the library to your code base, and you're going to be able to launch an activity really fast, or a custom activity if you want, and you're going to crop the image that you have. What's really nice that this library has many, many options of setting up the way that you prefer to do this crop. And as well, something that's not like the main focus of the library, but you can pick the images too. So you can decide if you're going to provide the image by yourself, if you already have the code in place, or maybe you just wanted the library to be able to tell you that you're going to get from the camera, the gallery, or your files. So I like to give a little bit of like final context where the library is today, so you understand why the library is so nice and how we get here. So I grow like for our growth numbers. I hand over the library is going to be 1 year now, so it was November last year. I started to record our growth in February. In February, we have this amazing 1,500 downloads per month. And yesterday, I was really proud to see that we got on 61 and 600,000 downloads per month. So we have been growing insanely on the last 8 months that I'm recording. So over the last year, I was able to hand over this library, and yeah, quite happy with what we have now. Other nice numbers is like the amount of releases that we did over this time, people watching, and the forks that we have from the library. So we had 26 releases, 50 watches that we have from the library, and 79 forks. And the forks are people who are getting the library to open a PR and improve the library itself, or just like getting the library as a base and do the modifications that they need. So yeah, it's a nice growth, I would say. And then why do I put myself in this handover situation? Like, how do I get here, and what problem I was trying to solve? So basically, the answer is like, why do I hate myself, right? Like, nobody said that would be like a good benefit from it or anything like this, but I understood that was needed. What happened is that we have an issue with a new release of the Android. Android 10 come with a difference of permissions. I'm going to explain a little bit on the next slide. And it broke on the app that I was working on time. And I was like, I know how to solve this. I solve for my app. Why I don't solve for the community? And this would be like a nice feeling, and it would help other people as well, because a little bit complex. But I could not find the owner of the library. As you can see, the old library that was a handover, there was no release of comments since October 2018, what is 3 years from now. The library has 5,000 stars, what is like amazing. And even over the last year, it goes to 6,000 stars, so like keep growing, even that is broke right now and don't work for the latest OSs. And I get no answer for the owner. I chase him on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, GitHub, everything, and I could not get no answer from him because I want to like to give my idea on the library itself. Not possible. So, and I saw that there is like 300 open issues, 20 open PRs, and I'm like, man, people are using this library, yeah, so why not bring this up to date and handle to the community? I asked a lot of people to join me. Everybody said, no, you're fucking crazy. So I did it by myself. What is the issue that we got? Not to go very deep here about the part of this. I'm trying to stick to the open source experience. But we have a problem with the external storage access. So when you try to crop an image, like we can see like in this blue graphic that we have the app, and when you try to crop the image, what you do is that you make a copy of a specific part of the image. And the way that we worked before is that we put this part on the external storage. And the external storage, when you get permission for that, you have access to everything. So you have access to all the gallery of the users, all the files, all the videos that he has. And then Google at some point, this makes no sense, right? Like, if you want to save just a small part of something, why you have access to everything else? Like, you don't need to have access to everything and other apps and stuff like this. So what they did, they created a scope storage that's basically a folder inside your own application. And instead of going outside now, you can make the copy inside. Even the picture coming outside, you save the crop image inside. And this comes with a lot of issues. So people doesn't know how to change this for the scope storage. Scope storage was based in a reflection path. So some labels, for example, Huawei and Samsung, in some OSs, they change this path, they change the folders in the places of the Android, and just justly broke everything. And if you already work with files, have the great opportunity to work with file provide and authority, it's a mess. It's really painful. It's really hard to understand the documentation. So I was like, I did that already. I have an idea. So yeah, let's hand over and see what I can do from here. And then I copied the code base to my local machine. I'm like, okay, I need to create a new repository. I want to go up front on that. And that's where the fun started last November. So the first thing was the handover. When I hand over, I was like, oh, I want to keep the history, right? I want to keep like this old library. It was part of it, this old repository. And I wanted people to see that I can use here. I was like, I fork it. And then I realized that when you fork, you cannot really have this library release in a new organization. So you cannot like really easily fork in the new organization. So it just doesn't work. And then when I did that, I realized that this library was already handed over before, what made me feel a little bit more calm, like I'm not stealing anything. This guy created the library. This guy before me, Arthur, he was like improved the library a lot, bring a lot of features to the library and forgot about it. And now I'm trying to bring this up to date. And what is amazing about this handover is that I bring with me all the bugs. So I went to all the issues and all the PRs for the last year, trying to see like what people were complaining more and what I could like start to focus on improving. And I get no one to help me. So this was a great experience. Like, how do you bring people to the new library? How do you make them to trust to get out of this library with like 5,000 stars and come to your library that you opened yesterday and have like 10 stars or something like that because I asked for 10 friends to like my new repository. And what I did was a great insight from a friend, like create a migration guide. I think this was the first thing that was really nice to have an open source library. Like, you are working with the community. They don't know you. They don't have to contact you. Start with a good documentation, a good migration, how you did things, so they know how to approach this. And the second part that was really what was scaring me on the beginning, I didn't have no idea how to do a release library. How do you put like a library open source in space so people can easily download on their projects? And what I did, and that was my first experience with the community that was very positive, is that I did on GitHub release that's based on Maven. And my vision at the time, last year, was like, this is the future. Like a lot of people will start to use GitHub releases, so we're gonna have a lot of library using that, and it's gonna be like amazing. I released it. It was really hard to use GitHub release. And then I think 1 month later, one guy come, hey, this sucks. Can we please like change to Gitpack? And I have no idea how to do this. The documentation was not very clear how to release an Android. And I just told them, yeah, we can change, but it's a community library, so please you do. And the guy did it. When it was like really, really good. This was the first experience where somebody else outside of my round of like knowing people in real life jumped in the library, did a change, opened a PR, code was amazing, like everything in place. And I'm like, oh, thank you. And now we have on Gitpack, thank for this person. And it was really, really good. And this made me start to realize, as Maria was working on the open source library and other people start to interact, that we need to have this organized. This is when I created changelog. The changelog is something that have all the releases, and it's very good for the developers when they need to update. They understand what changed from the previous version, and they understand what to do. So, for example, in the changelog, we put, we changed to release using Jetpack. So, like, okay, I need to throw everything that I just did for using your library first version and redo everything again, but at least you have an idea. And the versioning as well. So we start to versioning the library in numbers that make sense, using major version that break everything, minor versions with new features, and like the last new number versions for like hot fixes. Pretty standard, very easy for people to understand. And something that was very important for me was that this would not happen again. I would disappear, be killed by a bus, and nobody would be able to like fix this library and keep going. So I created the Can Hub. This is like an organization on GitHub. I add at least 8 people. We are always open like to have more people add to it, because if I disappear, I know there is people who has the power or an admin power literally to like keep going on the library, bring other people who wanted to be part of it, and the project don't stop. Yes. So we are on the middle of it. I will go really fast on these slides, but doesn't work. I can like share later. But what was my roadmap, personal roadmap, and how this work with maintenance? So my roadmap was very easy. I created a project on GitHub to let it public, so people would know what was the idea of the library. I need to improve the sample code because there was a really bad sample code. And I know nothing about how the library works. So if somebody opened a PR, like, yeah, maybe this broke something or maybe this don't, I have no idea. So I put a sample code in place where I could manually test, right? This was really good. I changed the whole library from Java to Kotlin because I feel comfortable to work on it, and it has already solved a lot of bugs that we have before. We fixed the custom activity bug. So basically on the library, you can use activity custom where you build yourself the layout, and this was broke and nobody was using, and we're like, how we didn't saw that before? And we changed the deprecated active result to the active contract. Again, this was not me. This was somebody on the community that saw this on the roadmap and said, hey, I want to do this because I want to use this way. I'm like, be my guest. And it was amazing. Great work. Did much better than I could have done myself. It was really nice. And the last one that now I have 2 months to complete is make the image degree 1. Make the image rotate 1 degree per time. Right now I can rotate at 90 degrees, so like 90, 180 and go on. But this is a great, really hard feature that I want to achieve. Hopefully we can go. But if you're feeling like, I know how to do that, welcome. Please be my guest. And something that was really nice that was not on this roadmap, because we changed the whole code to Java, to Kotlin, I broke Java. So this was the only broke release that I put it outside, where Java was not working anymore. And people were like, hey, we need to make it work. A guy fixed it, someone from the community, and another person come and did a sample code in Java, so we know that we don't broke anymore. Again, the community coming in and helping a lot the build of this library. This is so good. And then I add some things to make the maintenance of the library easy. So I will like go high level here so you guys have an idea, but all of this very, very important to make the life easier and you can sleep on the night. The CI, if somebody open up here, the CI doesn't run, please check the CI, like something's wrong, some test, some code style or anything like this. Code style, very important for your library. Code samples, people literally drop a request like, the library is not working. And like, can you reproduce on the code sample? No. Okay, so it's your code. Let's take a look in your code. Can you reproduce? Yes. So it's the library code. Let's understand what's the issue. And this helps a lot to reveal things. PR templates. A lot of people will ignore them. A lot of people open PRs or issues without templates, but this helps a lot the organization. And after some point, I was enforcing this to the library, like, hey, please use the templates. I use answer templates as well because people always come with the same thing, like, how would I use this library in Java? And I'm like, this is the link, like easy going. Probably I should add to the README, yeah. And as I said, issue templates, that this is the one that people ignore the most. People just come here and say, it's not working. And I'm like, okay, thank you. On the beginning, I was very calm, and I would go like, oh, you have to understand, this is an open source project. I don't know what's happening in your computer. Can you help me here to put things in place? Today, the library grow. It's hard to give attention that I was giving on the beginning. I'm just go like, it's not on the template. I'm closing. Please open again on the template. 4 or 5, they don't open again, probably because they found the issue or go to another library. But it worked very well. And curiosity, from all the other library, Android library crops that we have out there, because I was looking a lot when I was deciding if I would hand over or not. I want to build something useful. All of them were broke. And just another one that called ucrop is a big project as well, is along the library that is working right now. So basically, if you want to do Android crop on the latest OS, there is 2 options. This one, quite nice, I prefer, you should use it. Or the one that ucrop, amazing guys, they are doing amazing work as well. But there is have a 100 people team over there. The contributing guide, I normally don't like documentation, but I realize this is very important for a lot of people. I put a lot of time here. I hate it. Probably there's a lot of mistakes and things that we can improve. But again, this helps a lot with the code style. People come to the library, they understand how to approach, if they need to open an issue before, if they need to open a PR, how to contact you, what they need to run. Really useful. If you're going to work on an open source project, looking for the contributing guide, they probably already have a lot of information on it. And they stale boot, my best friend on the library. This is so cool. I hate when I go to the library and there is like 300 PRs, no answer, and you don't know what is outdated, what is updated, and if people are working on something or not. Basically, they stale boot something that you find on GitHub. He come, if they see that something is not being updated from the last, you decide about 2 weeks or something like that, he say, hey, I'm going to stale that. He let it open for more 1 week in my case, and then if nobody do anything, he closes. You know, like maybe something important, but if nobody's working on that, why we keep it live? But there is an option that's very good that you can pinot something, because like, oh, I'm on holidays for the Christmas, you know, like I'm going to be 1 month out. This is a real bug. I pinot, they stale boot, we'll ignore. So this is very, very good to keep it organized. And then Hacktoberfest community and my final learnings about this. Hacktoberfest, I don't know if people know, is something that happened now in October, and it's a great thing that to work on open source, but I was very, very worried about these things would work out. So talking about the community can be really amazing and really annoying at the same time. There is people who come in and say, man, great work, thank you, you're saving me a lot of time, really nice, and how can I help, or how this work I'm not understanding. And there is people who are just annoying, like, hey, why you don't fix that? Like, I don't have time, it's a volunteer work, you know, like things going on. And I put here that also people can be grateful or jerks. I would say pricks or even cunt, but my team didn't allow me to put these words here. So yeah, jerks, like we have on the keynote. So it's a nice word, but people can give you a hard time. Some days you wake up and there is like 3 issues and people are just complaining about life, and I just like, I see this tomorrow, you know. And on the same time, people are sometimes very, very glad about what you are doing. You need a lot of patience. You're gonna deal with really skilled developers, people who are better than me as developers, who like drop something, and I would be thinking like, oh, you should take the library, like it's your son now, like do whatever you want, and people know. And you're gonna deal with people who are like very on the beginning of being a developer. They don't fully understand what they are doing, and they will come like, my Android studio not running. Like, this is not the library, but let me try to help you how I can somehow. And come back into the last point about Hacktoberfest. Last year, people that work on open source community, they thought that was crazy, because if you have like 4 pull requests, you win a t-shirt, and look like developers don't have t-shirt, what's really hard for our community. And they would drop PRs, like random PRs, changing one common place, giving space, you know, like, and this was a nightmare for the maintainers. And I was like, I don't know if I want to have this nightmare. Like, I'm mostly alone maintaining this library. I have some help from time to time, but it's mostly myself. And then I got a tip from like my partner. My partner said, why you don't create a project like you create for the roadmap, and you create the issues about things that people can do? I'm like, that's a fucking great idea. And I'm like, well, yeah, let's do that. I did it. I put in place. I created the issues. I tagged a Hacktoberfest. Was amazing. People jump on the issue. People like, I want to do this. I want to help. You know, like things that I was postponing because I don't have the time was not my priority. It was like anything like that, but was small enough. People jumping. People fix it. So yeah, Hacktoberfest, a great experience for me. And then to finalize here, my final learnings, like a little bit of bullet points, and we can talk a little bit more about this later if you guys are interested, but open source I learn a lot with open source. Backwards compatibilities. When you release something on open source, you need to be sure that you're not breaking. It's different when it's your own code base that you can change all the uses of it. You always need to be thinking about how other people be using or not be using what you have. The release process, as I said, I had no idea how this worked. Now I'm much into it. I can understand. It was very good to understand what is a good documentation, a useful documentation template, and what is just like noisy that you don't need to have. Be succinct sometimes is better. And something that I learned last time that I was looking for jobs for joining Moonpig is that working on open source project is really nice. I have today this open source library that the main maintainer with other people, and I already have like open source contribution to the Android GitHub repository. So it's really nice to like have this on your profile and people really care, what is amazing. The community, as I said, being a little redundant here, people will complain, but you're gonna engage with like a lot of nice people as well. And so it's really nice to have this for the community, right? I was able to fix a library before any other people that is in a lot of projects, and it's so nice to use other apps and like, oh, this is the library that I'm working on. It's a really good feeling. And then the company open source, but before something that's not here. When I was working as a developer before and never had been open source, I would just find a bug in some library and I'm like, oh my God, a bug. I would go to this library like, hey, you guys have a bug. And like, oh my God, I'm so nice. I'm helping the guys, right? Like, this is so cool of me. They probably love me right now. They're like, ah. And I realized that's not like that. I realized that there is a lot of effort on the back. Normally the work that they do on open source is volunteer. People are not winning on that. This changed a lot of my mindset about how to approach this. And then I start to sponsor people that open source libraries that I use. I open the sponsor as well on the library that I have, like to like, hey, this is a real priority. I can help you, but like, let's make a fair trade, you know? And then companies should do open source. If you're working in a company today and you don't do open source, you probably have something in your company that could be used in other companies. And yes, you have a little bit of friction to release this open source, but then you win a lot about other people in other places using, finding bugs, fixing your bugs, improving your library, and of course a little bit of exposure to your own company. And then the final numbers that are where I start, we have today 600 downloads per month, what for me, I didn't expect it, but is amazing. On the year that I've been working on this open source library, 93 commits so far, 75 PRs, and count with myself, we have 23 contributors to the library, what is like amazing. So yeah, that was that. Thank you for coming. I hope you enjoy. I hope you want to drop by and see a little bit of more of the open source and how you can help. We still have 2 or 3 days on the Oktoberfest. You can get your t-shirt or anything like this. And join me at Moonpig. We are hiring not only Android developers, but other people, and like fucking amazing company, I can say. Thank you.